Today's lesson is on location and of radian measures on the unit circle, and today you're going to be able to identify which quadrant something is located in. So this is the unit circle that you're familiar with, and here are your radian measures throughout the unit circle there. And today we're going to talk about the approximate location where something is, and we're going to essentially do that by knowing that this is 0 pi and 2 pi, this is pi over 2, pi, and 3 pi over 2. So we're just going to find approximate location today. So take a look at the first one. It says label and draw each angle in standard position, and we have 2 pi. So we know we start right here at 0 pi, and we also know if we go all around the unit circle, we end up at 2 pi. So if I asked you to draw 2 pi, you would do just that. The next one says 3 pi over 2. Well, again, you know this is 0 pi. You also know this is 2 pi. You know halfway around is pi. And you know that this is pi over 2 and this is 3 pi over 2. So if I ask you to draw the approximate location, you would come around to right here, and this would be where 3 pi over 2 is located. Now, those ones were pretty easy, but what we're going to do is we're going to use the fact of what we just wrote down, and we are going to be able to determine where something else is without actually looking at the unit circle. And you need to ask yourself, okay, 7/4 right here. Ignore the pi for a second. What is 7 divided by 4? Well, if you plug that into your calculator, what you're going to get is 1.75. And you know that this right here is equivalent to 1 pi. This right here is 0.5 pi. And this right here is 1.5 pi. And then you have 2 pi. So if I asked you where 1.75 was, you would know that it's sitting in the third quadrant right here. So we would come around here and we would go 1.75. So 1.75 is going to be right here. So this is approximately where 7 pi over 4 is. Now, I'm not going to be too concerned about the fact that if it's in the correct spot or not exactly, but what I want you to be able to do is determine which quadrant this is in, so in the approximate location. So let's look at some more, and I'm again going to write the quadrantial angles over here so we know what those are. And now I'm going to look at 11 pi over 6. Well, if I don't know where that is, I could take in my calculator and go 11 divided by 6 and see what that gives me back. And I would find that gives me 1.83. So then I can ask myself, okay, where does that fit here? Well, where it fits is in this third quadrant. So I would come all the way around, and it's almost at 2, so it's probably this last tick mark right here. And it is, so this would be 11 pi over 6. Now if you look at the next one, we have 4 pi over 3. Again, if you don't know where that is, plug that in your calculator, 4 divided by 3, but hopefully you do actually. And it's 1.3. So what happens is we're going all the way right here. This right here would be 4 pi over 3 because I'm almost at 1.5. And you could do the same with the last one. You have 5 pi over 4. Again, do 5 divided by 4 and see what you get. You get 1.25. So we have to be at 1.25. So coming around here, and it's halfway in between 1 and 1.5. So this would be 5 pi over 4, which is in quadrant 3. All right, let's talk about the positives and the negatives. So 2 pi over 3. So 2 pi over 3, I know is just under 1. So I have to be in the second quadrant right here. And where I would go is right here. This would be 2 pi over 3. And pretty soon you're going to realize that the pi over 3, or you'll know the pattern that this is going to be over 3, this is over 3, this is over 3, and this is over 3. And that the over 6's are going to be the first ones right here. Those would be the over 6's, but we'll eventually get there. Right now it's just a little bit of work. But if we take a look at the negative 2 pi over 3, there's two ways we can come up with this. we can either come up with the positive 2 pi over 3 right here, and then just flip it across the x-axis. So if we flipped it across the x-axis, we would then be here. So negative 2 pi over 3 is going the same distance, but going backwards. So this is negative 2 pi over 3. The other thing you could do is you could take and add 2 pi. And when you're adding 2 pi, remember you have to find a common denominator. So that's going to be over 3, so this is 6 pi. And when you're adding these, you can see I have a negative 2 pi and a 6 pi, so that's 4 pi, and that's over 3. So you could also do this, and you could go to positive 4 pi over 3. And if you did it this way, you would end up at the same spot because that is like 1.3. And remember, this is 1.5, and that's 1. So this is also the same as 4 pi over 3. And again, you can do it either way. Here are some for you to try, so you can go ahead and pause the video. When you're going to 4 pi over 3, where you should end up is right here. This right here is 4 pi over 3, so you're in the third quadrant. Negative 7 pi over 4, again, you can either add 2 pi to that, or you can find 7 pi over 4 and then go backwards. So if you add 2 pi, what you would really be doing is adding 8 pi over 4. That's equivalent to 2 pi. And what you would get is pi over 4. So going to pi over 4 would be right here. And that is the same as negative 7 pi over 4. And again, 7 pi over 4 would have been here. And if I would have reflected that up, I would get to the same spot. And likewise with the last one with 5 pi over 6, negative 5 pi over 6. Again, I can add 2 pi, and that would end up being 12 pi over 6, finding a common denominator. And I would then have 7 pi over 6. And 7 pi over 6, I know has to be, it's slightly above 1, so it has to be in the third quadrant. Where it's going to be is right here. So this is not only 7 pi over 6, it's also negative 5 pi over 6. And 5 pi over 6 would have been here, so and again reflecting it down to get me right there. Now these values are not on the unit circle at all, so you're just going to use the same strategy. You would take 11 and divide it by 12 and see what you get, and you would notice it's slightly below 1. So we would have to be slightly below 1 right here. So this right here would be approximately where 11 pi over 12 is. And again with the next one, you could take and add 2 pi. So if we added 2 pi, what we would get is negative pi over 3. And again, I'm still not on the unit circle. I'm still at a negative value. So I would have to add another 2 pi. And then I would see I get to 5 pi over 3. And that is on the unit circle. That is around. And where it would go to is right here, which what this negative 7 pi over 3 is this going all the way around and then circling back. That is negative 7 pi over 3, which is also equivalent to negative pi over 3, which is also equivalent to 5 pi over 3. Those are our coterminal angles. And you could do the same thing with 5 pi. So 5 pi is just continuously going around the circle multiple times. Let's actually talk about that. If we start here and we go around, we're at 2 pi. If we keep going here, we're at 3 pi. Here we're at 4 pi. Here we're at 5 pi. So 5 pi right here would be the same as pi over 2. And again, you can find the coterminal angle by adding or subtracting 2 pi. And when you do that, you get 3 pi. And if you do it again, you get 1 pi. So you can see that that is in the same location, 5 pi, as just 1 pi. All right, with that, you can do your homework, which is a worksheet on location of radian measure on the unit circle. Have a great day. Bye.